happy Moon Day. If you're watching me live, please check in. Let me know where you're hailing from. There's a lot going on this week, and we are in it. I want to give a shout out to Debbie. Thank you for being behind the scenes and making this possible. And for all of you listening, because you make me get up and prep this all weekend long, and there is so much going on. So first of all, I want to mention what's happening in the heavens, in the sky, because tomorrow morning, pre-dawn, will be before sunrise, will be your last opportunity to see this amazing alignment of planets that's going on. The five of the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, are all lined up, and you can see them with the naked eye, but especially through a telescope before sunrise. But if you go out, you will see them. You'll, especially if you're somewhere where there's not too much ambient light. And actually, it would be worth getting yourself to where there is a lack of ambient light or light pollution so that you can see this, because this hasn't happened since December of 2004. And the planets they're aligned in the way that they proceed from the sun. And that's not always true. Oftentimes they're over here and over there, but this time they're aligned. So what is the message? You might go into a meditation and ask, what are these personal planets telling you, guiding you to do in your life, to take action on now? So, on the 24th, on Saturday, if some of you went out, that was when it was optimal. But tomorrow morning will be the last opportunity, because then they'll start to separate and they'll move out of alignment, and you won't see all five in this incredible rare alignment. So I want to tune you into that right off the bat. And of course, it's Moon Day, and that means we have a new moon tomorrow, and it's the last day. It means it's the last day of this current lunar cycle in Gemini. And the moon is in Gemini at 20 degrees right now. And as I mentioned, we're in the balsamic phase. So I have a question I want you to ask yourself. I'll be right back. This is the my moon Bible, as I call it, which will be published into a book very soon. But right now, I want you to ask yourself, what attitudes, beliefs, and feelings do you want to take into the next cycle? And what do you need to leave behind? And also, how do you feel now? And how does the feeling now compare to your new moon feelization? I hope you're journaling with the moon. Keeping track of your life, living more deliberately is so important. We are in a turning of the ages and a turning of freedom from a lack of same into equality. And we'll be talking about some of the challenges that are going on to that today. So what changes have you made, and how has your thinking, because this cycle was ruled by Mercury, the arbiter of thought. And how has your thinking helped you learn new things, strengthen your network of support, and manifest your intentions? So I encourage you to take some time between today and tomorrow to think of these things, because we will be moving from a cycle in air having to do with the mind and our consciousness into the realm of emotions with the new moon in Cancer at 7:52 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time tomorrow night. We're already in that Cancer energy as of the solstice when the sun moved into Cancer. But the new moon is like an ignition point that really kicks off all the messages and the energy and the intentions available during this cycle. So this cycle was all about communication in all its forms and the breath. To live fully, you've got to breathe fully. And, Mars in Aries today might make you feel, a go, and maybe not listen to other people's insights so much. But it's important. We've got to keep this dialogue going on both sides so that we can find solutions and healing. So breathe and do the heart drop, which is what we are going to do right now together. Okay? So put your feet on the floor, palms up in your lap, ready to receive energy. And close your eyes gently and just become aware of the breath as it comes and goes. Where is the breath in your body? Is it just in your chest, kind of like, or are you breathing fully, where your belly is moving as you inhale? Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And on the next breath, welcome the breath from below your feet down to that electromagnetic connection you have with the earth, your personal earth star. Take a beautiful inhalation, inhaling the sustenance and beauty of the earth. Grateful for your existence in this physical body and for the earth that sustains you. Breathe out. Inhale, feeling every cell quicken with prana, pure life force from source, all the way up. When you get to the top of your head, about 18 inches above your head, see a lot of white light. And on the exhalation, feel that coming down through your crown chakra, just bathing your whole body in this beautiful white light. Bring that earth energy up again on the next breath. And on the exhalation, feel your shoulders lower. Feel your hips supported by the chair, your feet grounded on the floor. On the next inhalation, breathe the air in all the way to your fingertips, the tips of your ears, the top of your head. And as you exhale, see all the thinkety-think, all the mental machinations and energy and distractions just move away as the energy moves down behind your facial mask, through your throat, down through your chest, and into your heart. Inhale. And as you exhale, drop, drop, drop into your heart. Inhale. And this time, as you exhale and drop into your heart, see a beautiful rose gold light filling your heart with self-love. Feel that beautiful rose gold light of love permeate every cell of your body. See it moving out through your skin into your auric field. So you are surrounded with self-love, filling your well, filling your heart to overflowing with appreciation for all that you are. You might tap in the middle of your chest and say, I deeply love and appreciate myself. I deeply love and appreciate myself. And when you feel the calm of being in the present as the presence in your heart, open your eyes and come back to be with me. So powerful. You know, in this time of radical awakening and collapse of freedoms, and and having to look at what that means to us, it's so important that you allow yourself to breathe in and out of your heart, that you allow yourself to be in the present moment, as many, many things are going to vie, have been, and will continue to vie for your attention, distracting you from the things that are really, really fundamental to your life. You know, I'm very much into the fact that we are in a time, a millennium, 1,000 years of the divine feminine, of the feminine in all of us, men and women, that receptive, magnetic nature. But this is not a namby-pamby energy. This is the warrior goddess rising to right the inequities that are going on. So tomorrow you'll be setting your intentions as you go throughout the day, Emotional reactivity will increase as we build toward that new moon in emotional Cancer. It's a water sign, so it's emotional. And it focuses on security and filling your own well so that you have a solid foundation from which to go out and about in the world. The moon is home in Cancer. And so, you've been busy adding new connections and new information to your cache of resources. And now a new chapter is unfolding. What you've grown since the beginning of the year is being born. Cancer is ruled by the moon, as I mentioned, emphasizing the mother and child within each of us and motherhood in general. This lunar cycle always takes you back to your roots, healing the past. The challenge for Cancer energy is releasing the past, not just living there. Reconnecting with home, family reunions, and all that supports a secure core of self-love while you're out and about in the world. These are the themes on your agenda. And since security is a priority, it's time to get in touch with all that nourishes you. The big news about this new moon is that it is united at 7 degrees. The new moon is at 7 degrees of Cancer, and it is united with Black Lilith moon. Now, Black Lilith is interesting, and it's worth your time to look her up. Black Lilith in astrology. What does that mean? This is the first mate of Adam. This is the tale as it is told by the patriarchal religions of the past 6,000 years. And so Black Lilith wanted equality in partnership. She did not want to be in a lesser than position. And so she left Eden. The story goes that she was kicked out of Eden by Adam. But let's face it, what came first? The feminine. All embryos, it is known, are feminine before the hormonal messages move to create masculinity. Feminine, birthing, the ultimate power of birthing. This is what the feminine in all of us is able to do, but in women, it is able to literally produce another human being. And this is what the patriarchy has sought to control. The fear of the feminine energy in itself, which is innate, and the feminine energy on the planet that has an ability that men do not have. So, of course, we know that there have been same-sex marriages and adoptions and a lot of really creative solutions to those who want to parent but can't birth. However, we are looking at rights having been overturned. These are rights, not just privileges. So as we look at the new moon in Cancer, we have a desire for oneness and heart connection. And it's interesting because earlier in the day, 7:52 p.m. is the new moon, but at 12:54 a.m., Neptune joins the retrograde parade, moving in retrograde motion until the 4th of December. Now, you know that I've mentioned that this is the year when you're being asked to dream bigger than you've ever dreamed and to take a leap of faith. So now, over these next months, as you birth something new, you're going to be looking at that dream. What is your dream of life? For the world, for the earth, for yourself? How do you connect to spirit? That communication line that you want to keep open to your higher self and your higher guidance. How do you cultivate that daily? How do you stay in touch with your sources of inspiration? Because of course your sources of inspiration are what will get you through this time of chaos. You know, chaos is the agent of creativity. So I want you to remember that. So The new is being created as the old collapses, and it's based on our recognition of our values and how our values and our dreams must be aligned. Our willingness to look at the long term, not just for our generation in this existence, but as the Hopis say, 7 generations at least. After all, as I mentioned, it's 1,000 years of the feminine. So as always, when you have a new moon, I'm going to give you an affirmation for the new moon. I nurture myself and others in positive, loving ways, and all I need flows to me easily. Water, right? So again, that's I nurture myself and others in positive, loving ways, and all I need flows to me easily. So you'll be setting some intentions. Tomorrow night, if you're on the West Coast, 7:52, you'll still be awake. But you can do it on Wednesday morning if you absolutely need to go to sleep. And of course, you want to do a brain dump. You want to combine thoughts, feelings, and actions. So you want to do a brain dump and then set some concise intentions around health. And the health watch is the stomach, the digestion of the stomach, the gut, the breasts, the womb. So these are the areas. Every time the moon moves into Cancer every month, it's a great time to check your girls. Do your self-breast or your self-pectoral exam. And watch whether you are eating emotionally or whether you are feeding yourself with the true things that your self is calling for nourishment-wise. Because it may be a hole in your soul or in some area of your life that you're trying to fill with food. I was listening to a fellow the other day, a doctor, who was talking about the addictive properties of all processed foods. I've gone back to, took me about a week or two to get everything out of my house, from flour to sugar to processed foods, and just have fruit and salads and vegetables in my refrigerator. And boy, I feel better. I feel lighter already. I've also started doing water aerobics as of last Friday. Perfect for this Cancer cycle. So that's a form of exercise. Any form that gets you into the water, swimming, walking on the beach, just creating a spa in your bathroom if you're unable to get to water, putting that sign on the door if you're a mama whose energy is leveraged in a lot of ways, putting a sign on the door saying, this is my me time for 30 minutes. Give yourself that. Fill your well first. So I just want to mention a little bit more about Lilith, because she is exactly conjoined with this new moon. And so Lilith can have to do with power struggles, with trauma. Oh, Maureen, wow, you can see it? Thank you. I feel more vibrant, it's interesting, just to add one little factoid around processed foods and flour and sugar. They actually kick off dopamine, just like a drug does in your brain. So once we realize it's an addiction, we can begin to at least narrow them down in our lives. It's a really good practice during this. Hello, Olivia. Hi. Beautiful to have you check in. Oh, from Denmark. Wow. So, trauma, power struggles. We've got a couple of things coming up this week aspect-wise that I'm going to talk about. But these are the things that this conjunction with Black Lilith has to do with. And of course, we have really seen this with Roe versus Wade being overturned. This is not about killing unborn children. This is about women having the right to decide about what goes on with their own bodies. This started with COVID recently, but I was there 49 years ago when Roe versus Wade was first brought into the public awareness and became law. So I was in college, and I had a friend die from a backroom butchery, and this is what was going on. Women who were victims of rape and incest had no ability or say-so over their bodies. It's hard to imagine, but we're there again. What's happening is we're in the first quarter waxing of the passing of this law. And so if you look at it in those terms and you realize that the patriarchy has been in control of women's bodies for thousands of years, then you can begin to understand that it may take 4 quarters. It may take a couple hundred years before we get this solidly in place. I'm not saying we won't make strides. We need to speak up about women's freedom over our bodies and not turn it into an issue of killing babies and the kind of stuff that we're being told to couch it in. But of course, I was very curious about the astrology of this. So when I looked it up, I thought, where was the moon at that time? Well, the moon was in Virgo. And Virgo, the virgin, did not mean one who has hymen had not been pierced. What it meant, virgin, meant a self-possessed woman. So the moon was in Virgo. Pluto was in Libra. Uranus was in Libra. Justice, balance, fairness, equality, the sign of Libra. And Uranus was there, and the vertex. Now, the vertex is interesting because the vertex in the chart is not a planet. It's a position that has to do with mathematical computations about the ecliptic. But it is karmic and it is wish fulfillment. So that was also in Libra, the wish for equality. And now we had the moon in Taurus, stubborn, intractable. It's feminine, and yet it's been turned upside down from Greek times into a bull. Taurus is not a bull. This is one of the things that needs to collapse, this perception of Taurus ruled by Venus as a bull. I don't know if you've seen the huge bull outside the Wall Street. You know, it's amazing with great big, gonads. Bulls, great big. And so this has been pushed on our culture when Taurus actually needs to ground in the feminine. The glyph for Taurus is a circle of life with a crescent moon on top. That says it all right there. And at this time, with Venus moving through Gemini, a masculine air sign, we need to communicate about this with each other, our feelings about it. We need to get clear because it's gotten a real rap from all sorts of institutions, from government, from religion, from all of it. But it's a time to search inside yourself for your own divine feminine mandate and ask what it means for you and for the generations to come. It's interesting. Pluto has so much to do with everything that's going on now. And Pluto is destruction and regeneration. And it also has to do with the creating of laws and institutions out of our belief systems. And we know that our belief systems and our value structure needs massive overhaul within each of us. It's, this is one of the things that this is telling us. Hello, Catherine. This is one of the things that this time is telling us. Anu Prabha, I hope I'm saying that correctly. What a beautiful name. Hello. So as we look at this, what does the divine feminine mean to you? The divine feminine and the divine masculine need to be in union, in balance. Important. Divine is an important word, rather than 3D perception, the perception of the connectedness to all things. And the demonization is also, part of this new moon setup with Lilith, the demonization of the feminine. And with Pluto so involved and Saturn retrograde, this has to do with the power of tradition and the old ways. And as we move through the week, we'll see that this theme comes up even more strongly. So hold on. It's a really good time to be an activist, but do not put yourself in harm's way. Write your letters, sign your petitions, share in your conversations. We knew this was coming. There was a leak that was told about. And this is not a totally agreed upon thing that has happened. But we know that our Supreme Court is very skewed right now. And the thing that we have to watch out for, as I've said many times, is polarization. We live in a reality of duality, but that's different than polarization. You must take sides, so to speak. And the things that want to force you to take sides, divide and conquer, absolutely in play right now. So don't be divided against yourself. Raise your frequency every day in every way you can with the heart drop, playing the solfeggio frequencies, which I did a show about a few months ago, SOLFEGGIO frequencies. You want to go to the frequency of love and above, 528 hertz. Play that in the morning. You'll be amazed at how your cells really respond and love it. There's a lot that goes on with the Roe versus Wade astrology. And so if you want to look back at that, you can look back at the time when Pluto was in Capricorn prior. And right now, Pluto is having a return in the United States to its natal position in Capricorn in the second house of money and power. Again, I go to the image of the bull as the symbol of Wall Street, as opposed to the symbol of the divine feminine, savoring, attractive, magnetic, receptive, ruled by Venus, not Mars, ruled by Venus. So as we move forward throughout this new moon, I would just want to remind you back to the fact that you write a concise intention, health, relationships. Cancer wants family, home. So how are your relationships in your family and your extended family? Nurture those as you move through this time. Family reunions are very common during this time. It's no accident. So set a relationship around home, family, business. What are you birthing? When we had the moon cycle in Taurus, before the Gemini cycle, we looked at the resources we were going to bring to bear for our long-term goals and the steps that we were willing to take step by step with patience and stick-to-itiveness. And so now, as we come to this Cancer cycle, we look at the relationships that will support that, how our business, our finances can be supported, because Cancer is very much focused on emotional security, and that very much relates to money when it comes to Cancer. They're the ones that said in the zodiac that have the hidden bank accounts. So what does that mean to you? How could you have that in your life? And then, you can do a fourth intention, but I wouldn't do any more than that. And you do your brain dump so that you can get it down to a concise intention that begins, I happily and thankfully create. And then your intention. I happily and thankfully create healthy eating habits. And watch, and an action under that might be, I'm going to keep track of when I eat, why, if I'm really hungry, how healthy am I? After all, food is comes in many, many ways. Nourishment, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So once you set your intention, close your eyes and visualize what it looks like to have that intention manifest right now. Really, really allow it to be a beautiful, fleshed out movie. Colors, sounds. And then take that picture and drop it into your heart and expand into the feeling as your heart energy flows through your whole body. Expand into what it feels like to have that feeling manifest, to have that intention manifest right now. What does that feel like? Your feelization is going to be super, super powerful with this new moon and throughout this cycle because it is Cancer, water, emotion. So you want to harness those emotions with your feelization. It's a really powerful, positive way to do it. And then open your eyes. Actually, there's one more step. When you're dropped into your heart and you're feeling this feeling, then ramp it up to another level and feel it move into your auric field so that the frequency of your feeling is within you and without you. You are immersed in that feeling. Feel the joy. Feel it to the point where you are smiling. And then write down any messages or insights that you've had. And put 3 action steps. Thought, feeling, action. Put 3 action steps underneath each intention. This is why you don't want to do a whole bunch of intentions. Because you can't keep up with all of that and do some feelization every day on these. You want to calendar your actions. Commit to them. When you calendar them, when you put a date for how you're beginning it, at least, if not just putting on your calendar the different steps through which you're going to take your intentions throughout the cycle, you commit to it when you put it on your calendar. And then check in with that calendar. That's important too, right? And then the final step is gratitude. Gratitude is the fertile soil in which all your intentions thrive, are planted and thrive. And at the time of the new moon, you plant deep in faith and trust because there's no light coming from the moon at that time. So it's deep in your subconscious, and your subconscious is said to be 95% of your operating system, and the moon represents the subconscious, which is why this work can be so, so powerful. It's also going to put you in touch, especially in the Cancer cycle where it's feminine energy, water, emotional, more and more in touch with the solutions to how do I walk and live and support the divine feminine in balance with the divine masculine throughout my lifetime. Beginning now, we have received a clarion call with the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Maybe it needs some tweaking, but it's definitely asking us all to look deep. With Mars in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn, we've really, it's going to get wild. It's going to be a hot summer, right? So remember to dig deep into your feminine and what that means for you. And as I said, it's not namby-pamby energy at all. The feminine is very, very strong energy. As we move into Wednesday, the moon continues in Cancer in the new moon phase. And you need to feel secure and emotionally supported. It's a great evening on Wednesday to spend time with your family. And on Thursday, We have, in the morning, we have inventive, Pallas Athena, trine, powerful Pluto. So one way that you can experience some self-empowerment is to harness the power of your mind and imagine new solutions to practical problems. I want you to remember that because it may end up being an emotional roller coaster later on. The moon moves into Leo at 5:39 p.m. on Thursday. And this encourages us to take new risks. Remember, you're referring back to your dream, the steps you want to take. And as I said, I'm not talking about putting yourself in harm's way, but speaking up, speaking out, getting clear on how you feel about all of this. Remember, the Sagittarius full moon in the last cycle reminded you to take a leap of faith. Dream big, take a leap of faith. And look at the beliefs that no longer serve. Beliefs and truth are two different things. The truth is, there's only one of us here, human beingness. The truth is, we are love. We are made from love, and we are designed by a divine plan of source, and we are that. And beliefs are malleable, but sometimes they can be so deeply entrenched, and control, the need to control, to categorize is to control, and it's rampant in our society. So watch out for judgment this week. Judgment closes your heart. So if you see yourself going there, just drop into your heart so you can get a clear field. And on Friday, we move into a new month according to the the unnatural calendar, July 1st. And on that day, you'll have a decision to make. You may find that there's some impulsivity in the afternoon as Mars squares Pluto. And so there are two aspects this week that are really worth looking at. One occurs tomorrow when the sun squares Jupiter. And you may find with the emotional sensitivity that I mentioned ramping up during the day, that there's some inflated ego stuff going on. A sense of privilege that could lead to disaster. So just be aware of that tomorrow as things ramp up. And also, die down. The balsamic phase is a time when it's not wise to push the river, and it can be disastrous. It's a really good day to go inward if you can. Just exhale. Exhale the cycle. Ask yourself the questions that I mentioned earlier. Go back to the replay if you didn't see those questions at the beginning. At the beginning, I talked a bit about the Sky Watch, which is phenomenal right now. Something big is going on, the 5-planet alignment. And I also talked about a couple of other things related to how to wind this cycle down that you might find helpful. Hubris is a big word for what could go on tomorrow. Yeah. And hubris, it's interesting. It's I watched Christopher Renstrom has a wonderful video that came out yesterday about the sun square Jupiter and the aspects this week and what hubris means, taking it back all the way to the Greeks. So what we're seeing as we move to July 1st, we have Mars in Aries square Pluto in Capricorn. Really, really powerful, and can be a lot of power moves, power struggles, energized. It's going to present challenges to the things that we launched, that were initiated, and that we launched in early March. Because this goes back to March 1st. That was the first time that this synodic cycle began. And weakness in your plan, and the weaknesses in your plan are now revealed. So reassess your methods. That's why this week there's a lot of really pushy power struggle, power over energy. So it's a really good week for you to just to be in your heart and to watch all the insights that are coming. You know, we've now got Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto in retrograde motion. So we're reviewing the framework and the structure of what we're building, and of what, you know, what are the old traditions, the old things that are being preserved in your life that just don't serve. With Uranus in Taurus, we're being told to take a radical stance regarding the earth and our relationship to her, and in our relationship to our finances, our resources. Do we live in a world of I've got mine, therefore I'm okay, or do we live in a world where sharing is really, really part of our litany on a day-to-day basis? Saturday might be a little easier to think clearly after the the upheavals that have gone on. And in the afternoon on Saturday, the moon will enter the crescent phase. So the crescent phase is the phase where you take your intentions and you look at the resources that you need to move them forward. It's analogous to the sprout reaching for the sun, where the seed is opened and produced this sprout. It's reaching for the light. And that's what your intentions are doing. They're asking you to get your ducks in a row, get things in order so that you can move forward on your intentions. Continue your feelization. You know, really, once you've done your feelization thoroughly at the time of the new moon, really, really savored it and enjoyed it and gone deeply into it. In the morning, you know, when you're doing your journaling or whatever your morning routine is, you read your intention out loud, drop into your heart, and spend 30 seconds really feeling that intention manifest all out. I am one with Source. I am one with God. I am one with all I desire. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that one. It's a great, great affirmation to say. And just, you know, I say it all day long. And so feel yourself dropping into your heart and feel that intention manifested. Facts don't create. Feelings create. Feelings create, right? So this is one of the things when you look at this tamping down of feminine equality right now, that's one of the things that's being tamped down. We don't want to feel. We just want to do our thing and control everything and override everything. It's like, no, feelings create. And we need to harness that energy in the most positive, proactive way we can so that we create a world that works for everybody. You know, everybody's going to get in their own way, you know, with their soul path or their soul growth. But at least if we can envision an equal playing field, that's a great feelization. So you can see if you just spend 30 seconds on each intention, feeling it every day, and then if you get insights, write those, because a lot of times that's when I get my ahas. It'll fast track your intentions, first of all. And if dream stealers come during the day, those old thoughts, those old feelings that waylay your progress, you can just drop into your heart and affirm your intention again. I happily and thankfully. Yeah. So on Saturday particularly, you might find that there's a restlessness and a fogginess that's pervasive, even though it's a little easier to think clearly compared to these really Sakobafo transits I mentioned. But avoid judgment as the day progresses on Saturday. That's a big one. So go back to what I mentioned earlier. Drop into your heart. Make sure that you're not closing your heart and judging. Oftentimes, guilt, judgment, shame, blame, they all go together. Not a good belief system. But we all have it. It's been hammered into us from the time we were children. So look at where you might not be accepting yourself, right where you are, completely. You know, years ago when I started this work, my mother had passed away. And I realized that some of the most important work that we all have to do is to remother ourselves, to give ourselves the mother, the parents that we wanted. No fault, simply the fact that it's our job, because nobody can know the ideal mother and father that we need but us. So a lot of us had judgment, blame, shame, guilt as part of the, part of what went on when we were kids. Oh, I love this. I love this. T. Williams just took pictures of a new tree sprout this morning. Yeah, great. Yeah. Oh, Kathy, thank you. Thank you. Your comments, I want you all to know how much I love you. Your comments mean so much to me. And yeah. So on Sunday, the moon enters Virgo. So it comes out of courageous, heart-centered, passionate Leo, which, goes on from late Thursday through. And then on Sunday at 5:30 a.m., moon moves into Virgo. Oh, thank you, Maureen. Wow, thank you. So, exhale as you prepare for the coming week, because we're still going to be in the, in that energy that, that tells you to just use your weekend to take a breath, because Virgo is where we take the passions of Leo and we move them into a context of service. But you got to be of service to yourself first, right? Fill your own well. It's one of the big messages for the Cancer cycle, because sometimes, especially if you have strong Cancerian energy, you might find that you nurture everybody else, you mother everybody else, and that's how you feel a sense of control or security in your life. But the danger is drawing from an empty well. It's no accident that the disease known as cancer is synonymous with the sign Cancer, ruled by the moon in the zodiac. Aha, right? It can be a lack of self-nourishment in some area of your life. So you don't want to have to experience that to come home to yourself, and the moon is where you come home to yourself. So that's pretty much, that's the week. It's a big week. You've got a new moon. You've got these aspects. You've got a lot of stuff in our consciousness around what's happening to our freedoms. We know that the system has to collapse. The current system doesn't work for everybody. It's top down. We know that we're in a time where we're being asked to radically assume our self-empowerment, what that means for us, and to work together, to spend the time envisioning and walking that vision in our lives of the world we want to create, we are creating, and to know that the collapse that we're witnessing is of what was created yesterday, and that we will rise because we are creators in truth, right? Yeah, you're a creator. The light bombardment continues, the photon belt, the coronal mass ejections, the solar flares, the fact that we are photonic light, Rama, Rama, Rama. I celebrate the joy of the divine light within me. Yeah, you're a creator. Oh my gosh, that's the real bottom line that the old traditional forces don't want you to recognize, because that would cause the collapse of a lot. And so we're experiencing this personally as well as globally. And try not to get distracted by the things that have no value for you, to get mired in the yesterday, and to look at what we're building tomorrow. Stay aligned with that. As we move throughout the summer, we're going to have more retrogrades. So we're really reviewing what freedom means to us. And Pluto's going to continue doing what it's doing in Capricorn, the need for control, top-down government, old traditional systems that don't work based on beliefs that aren't true. And as that continues in 2023, we will have Pluto move into Aquarius and say hello, and then it'll back up into Capricorn again and say, what have you learned? What do you see that really needs transforming? Not comfortable, but we're finding a new way to live. Where are we going? We're going higher, 3D, 4D, 5D, if you want to define it. But it's awakening to the truth of who we truly are. We are beings, to me, created out of love with that creative force within us. We are no less than that. Don't let anything take you down and make you think you're less than that. And remember, the words "please help me" can be very powerful. A lot of times I find that women particularly have a hard time saying that. But you'd be on a planet all by yourself with your name on it if you weren't supposed to be able to ask for help and to share. So there's a link if you'd like a reading. It's a great time for a reading with all of this that's going on if you'd like to get your North Star in line, so to speak, your soul purpose. And that's a new landing page that went up. So, you can let me know what you think about that. There are a couple of audios available there, as well as a full session with me. I'm on YouTube, Claudia Thompson, Moon Powered Astrology. And then Instagram, Facebook, not Claudia Thompson, just Moon Powered Astrologer. So comment, share me. I don't want to be the best kept secret. If this uplifts you, if it helps you, if you feel the love, and that really, really inspires you, share me with others. And comment, send a message to me. I love to hear from you. It really warms my heart. Have a great week. You've got the new moon. You've got this Jupiter square the sun, reminding you to dream big. And Saturn in Aquarius saying, review how you walk your vision now every day. How do you lift yourself up from the moment your beautiful eyes open in the morning? Now, as always, I love you to the moon and way beyond.